As I mentioned in my previous video, I was recording a bunch of Sonic Frontiers mods before getting the urge to make my own. With that side quest now complete, it's time to explore other people's mods in Sonic Frontiers. Let's start with this one I showed and misattributed in my last video, my apologies, Emerald Coast Act 1, which is actually by Charcoal. When I recorded playing it a bit over a month ago, I had fun with this port of a Sonic Adventure 1 classic, but found it a bit rough, so I was excited when I learned that the mod's creator had actually taken the original down, worked on it a bunch, and released Emerald Coast Definitive Edition. This version serves as a great example of how a mod can be improved. This version is longer, now includes everything but the whale chase sequence, which I'm pretty sure would be impossible to add, unless you can somehow do custom coding, which I don't think is a thing. There's more trees, more enemies, the position of the sun I think has been adjusted so you're in shade less of the time. Like in the original mod, there are custom camera triggers set up to force the camera to move, keeping your focus on the path ahead. This time though, they either have been adjusted to be smoother or there are more of them, because I really had to worry about the camera and I think it was a pretty smooth experience. Of course, this is a port, but that doesn't change the fact that a lot of effort and care went into this mod, so all in all, it's good stuff. Likewise, Metal Harbor is a port with a lot of care put into it. It also has an impossible to recreate set piece, aka the rocket. In its place is a ridiculously strong spring which does work, but I can't not see Sonic just ascending to heaven. My only real issue with this level is really a gripe with Frontiers as a whole, because, you see, the field of view is lower in cyberspace compared to open zone gameplay, regardless of how much you mess with the camera settings. This makes every level look worse in my opinion. Like, what's the point of going around being a blue hedgehog who runs fast if I can't see him and the places he goes? It is possible to change, but it requires adjusting the stage's RFL file, which does nothing for those without the means to do so. Like a wise man once said, just give us FOV sliders. All that said, let's go a bit quicker for some mods that are worth including, but I don't have much to say. Rooftop Run Act 3 is a solid port, as is Windmill Isles Act 1. Super Bell Hill, another mod by Don Arceus, is a quick port over from Mario 3D World. The rings have been changed to coins, which are a bit unsettling, but I guess it works, it just feels illegal. Frozen Factory SP isn't a port, but instead a stage based on Sonic Lost World and Sonic Runners assets. For a first-time effort with Blender, it's really well done. Fallen Fleet is a custom stage by Clever Chow, loosely based on the Sonic Heroes Egg Fleet stage. After running off a short ramp, Sonic skydives down onto one of three rails. Beyond is a series of decaying ships serving as platforms. There are rails, zip lines, and so on. The level does a decent job of guiding the player through the level while still having some optional side paths to go down for red rings and whatnot. I also like that the level almost always brings Sonic back down towards the water, keeping the threat of the water close at hand. Next, let's look at Bridge Island, a custom stage by Diddy Kong. This mod is inspired by Bridge Island Zone from Sonic Superstars, boasting a custom layout, an atmosphere that resembles Bridge Island Zone Act 2, and custom physics. Not sure if it's a meat issue, but there doesn't seem to be any kill plan at the water, so I just fell into the abyss repeatedly as I enjoyed playing the level and grinded out an S rank finish time. Regardless of my one gripe, this is a really good level, so color me surprised when I learned there was a sequel. Bridge Island 2 is a much larger level, and despite not really enjoying 2D Sonic levels as a whole, I think that the section at the start was really well done, as is the later 3D section. Also, the time needed for an S rank is much more forgiving than Bridge Island 1, which I really appreciated. Now, we've been spending so much time in cyberspace, you might think that's all there is, but no, that's not the case. Just about every major aspect of this game can be modded. You can change Sonic into a Mania-inspired model, or a Sonic Adventure model, or Unleashed. You can give him Excalibur's armor from that one game, or make him Shadow the Depressed Hedgehog now with light-up shoes that make you go fast. As for things outside the Sonic universe, you have plenty of options. People have made mods that turn Sonic and friends into Yoshi, Digimon, Minecraft, and so much more. There's actually way too many to list individually or even just show, so let's just have a quick montage.
Right on! Let's do it! Rock the world!
And here we have the ground!
Just this once. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, I guess I can do one more for nothing.
Czy to Freddy Fazbear?
My deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba.
It's here! It's wild! It's sweeping the nation! It's Fushigi!
Now, if you have any gripes with the game, you could just change it. You don't think the Koco are cute enough? Turn them into Pikmin, or Luma, or eggs, or even... You don't like change things up with the Island Tweaker. You can adjust object pop-in distance, remove camera triggers, dash panels, 2D sections, and more. Oh, and for more general graphical tweaks, the Graphics Enhancement mod lets you adjust shadows, reflections, depth of field, and more. And that's not even talking about all of the various adjustments you can have with the many codes toggleable in Hedgehog Manager itself. Oh, and on the topic of visuals, while we looked at various character skins, I also want to shout out the mods that aim to change the textures for entire islands and levels. Kronos Hills V2 repaints the island with the vibrant green grass and classic checkerboard brown pattern for hills that you know and love. I'm not gonna lie, I would have loved if this game used this art style throughout. There's also Fall Foliage by Pupsi, and Cherry Blossom and Autumn Kronos and Ornos, which gives a whole new feel to this island by changing the island's natural elements, which are an aspect of the original game that I think was kind of overlooked. Like, there's trees and grass and vines and all that, but I feel like for the most part they're all kind of just there. There wasn't much creativity with how they were used. Does that make any sense? I don't know. And of course, we can't talk about changes to the islands without talking about Starfall Island, a mod that takes Kronos, Ornos, Rhea, and Final Horizon and packs it all into one massive open zone, as they say on the page. They also detail just so many parts of this mod that I can't properly visualize for you, but it's really impressive. And of course, I can only imagine how cool it'd be if Ares and Chaos Island were somewhat nearby so that you can go across all of the islands without ever having to go through a major loading screen. That would be the true open zone experience. But what we got here is pretty close. Also, shoutouts to Cyberspace Good Future by What, which aims to add a positive good future twist to the cyberspace stages from lighting changes to altered textures. While I might have personally taken a different approach to some of the colors, I do think it's a really cool idea and the amount of effort is impressive. It also kind of makes me want a mod where it does the inverse, like going further towards a bad ending kind of vibe to all the levels. I can imagine darker and duller colors, rusted metal, withering grass, stone structures with cracks in them, and debris everywhere, that kind of thing. I think it could be cool, maybe not, I don't know. Anyways, back on the topic of changes, you could even change the laws that govern physics itself. There are a lot of mods that revamped Sonic's movement, but one that I really fell in love with was Mach Speed Physics the Next Generation. It changes a lot. There's momentum, so going downhill speeds you up, while going uphill slows you down, so you're incentivized to power boost to either get up to or maintain your max speed, and not just all the time. Power Boost now requires at least 400 rings rather than max rings, and you can now get a temporary power boost by building up the Phantom Rush gauge, which has now been adjusted to act more as a momentum gauge. And also, now you can drift whenever you want, which, while not really necessary, is fun and helps build up the gauge. Also, there are a bunch of moves you can perform both on the ground and in the air, which really change up Sonic's playstyle enough that I think using this mod could warrant a whole new playthrough, which is exactly what you want in an overhaul kind of mod. Now, let's finish things off with an extra special mod. The Treetops mod by XD42 and Quasar is a standalone mini-campaign which adapts multiple levels from the original Spyro the Dragon game. Kronos Island has been replaced with the titular Treetops, which works well for Sonic considering he's all about building speed and launching himself through the air. Across the open zone hub are multiple guardians to fight, and 3 different cyberspace stages to visit. I think it's really cool that this mod actually uses custom info boxes to teach the player to boost launch off of terrain to get around. It's a fun mechanic, and it works really well in this level. Within cyberspace, you'll find adaptations of Cliff Town, Alpine Ridge, and Wizard Peak. Within each level, you have a bunch of different things to do. Firstly, you have to press 5 buttons to unlock the gold ring, so you can't just rush to the end. Also, there are red rings to collect, moon rings, even some animals to find, and number rings. All 3 levels are great, but the fact that one fall into the void can wipe your progress does really sting. I don't really hold it against the mod creators because there are no checkpoints, but then again, how would you add the cyberspace checkpoints in a free roam stage? That aside, this mod is incredible, and it's obvious that a lot of effort went into it. If you want to play this or any other mod showed in this video, be sure to check them out on Game Banana. There should be links in the description. If not, please tell me, I'll be sure to update it. But that said, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Big thanks to my channel members for their support, it really means a lot. If you want to watch my video where I made a Sonic Frontiers mod myself, go check that out. I have other videos on Sonic Frontiers, on Sonic, on other games. Check them out if you want. That's it for this one. Goodbye.